Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and today is Tuesday. It's January 28th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And while this looks a lot like a trading range day, I see just a larger weak channel here. Notice that we're making higher highs on the way up, and we're making higher lows as well. So that's an uptrend. Now it's not a strong one, and I believe there's a median line in here, but it's still an uptrend all the same. I would look for us to come to this other side, but this is a little bit, notice the trend line coming up through here, and we got the break, and we've had a new high twice here now. So we could turn back down, but until we start making lower highs and lower lows, I would still be staying with the idea that we're probably going to come up here and test the upper side. So um, looking at the short term here, it doesn't look that way. I just haven't checked this on the other side, but I feel pretty confident in that short-term channel. It looks pretty good. We got a break. We got a leg. We've actually got two legs up to a new high. So we could turn down. But again, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't head up. This is where I would be looking for us to go for a target is up here for another new high for the day, somewhere off of this upper trend channel line. So um, we'll just have to see what happens. So I'm done for the day. That's one thing. It's usually a lot more clear in the mornings where we're headed than in the afternoons. And just to give you a good example, look at yesterday. I mean, we were all over the place. We had this huge downtrend, and then we had this massive rally, only to see it just turn on a dime and close way back down here again. So afternoons, things like this happen more. It's usually more, you know, it's usually easier to read the price action the first half of the day. At least that's my opinion. It may just be me. Um, so I'll leave it at that. But that's why I like to trade early, get done. There just seems to be less surprises in the morning. So I'm a fan of trading in the morning. And but anyway, let's talk about the trades, and we'll go from there. I actually wanted to, I forgot to circle one right here. I wanted to mark this one in green right here. So let me put that on there before I get started. I failed to put that one on there. And just, I haven't said this in a while, but there's always um, additional trades that, that you'll see during the day that maybe I don't mark, but there's generally a reason I don't mark them. It doesn't mean they don't fit the rules or you couldn't have taken them or they wouldn't have worked. I try to pick out the ones that are not too, that they're not too aggressive, but they fit our rules and they're generally pretty, fairly obvious trades that you should be taking if you're pretty good with the price action. And I generally don't mark anything much after noon, 1 o'clock. You can see how much we've slowed down. I mean, uh, this is we had all of this price action from the open 8:30 to about noon. So about 3.5 hours, we had all that. And then since then, an hour and a half, we've only had this right here. So it's definitely slowed down. The volume's coming to, really slowing down there. So, um, and that may be why we're really struggling to go higher here. There's just not enough volume to, we're kind of hung in this little trading range looking. This is kind of no man's land here. I'll go ahead and mark probably from there to there in what I call our violet color. Um, just because there's not much happening and it's really risky entering in here. You need to wait on a trap or something before you enter either direction, I would say. And then I'd wait on a good one. But let me back out a little more, talk about the trades. And again, somebody asked me about this being a trading range day. And it is similar to a trading range day because notice how we're swinging to both sides of the EMA. But the overall, notice the EMA has mostly been up, except for this little correction right here and maybe early. So I would categorize this as a trend day, a weak upward trend with a clear channel going on here. So, I'll leave it at that. But let's talk about the trades. Uh, this was the first long I saw, first trade I like. If you might have considered going short right here, um, if you were trading this early. We were coming down. We already had a break right here in a new low. Then we rallied out of here, but I didn't like, you didn't really have this line in place because you didn't have this higher low yet. So what I did was I sat tight and waited on this trap. Notice that you got your new low, your first entry short, your pullback, your second entry short. It fails and turns up. Just go long right there. Quick, easy move. Any runners would have survived, and you could have ridden them. Um, you know, all the way up to a new high, definitely up to the last couple of resistance areas. That's what I would have been shooting for. The best thing to do is take you a measured move off of this leg and look for something similar, and that would have got you to right in there where it pulls back to the trend line, and then you get a new chance to enter. So, that's what I would have been looking at. But that's a failed second entry short right there, with a nice chance to enter. Um, and it's a really good move. And then guess what? You get a new high, pull back first entry long, pull back second entry long with a nice reversal bar right off a possible trend line using those closes. And it took it a minute to work out. There's really some strong resistance in here. And this was so close that it was a little bit, I almost drew that one in green. Let me just get these out of the way. But it's a second entry long. It bounced right off that trend line. It's a nice bullish reversal bar. So, and if you draw this line and you move it up here, I was at least looking for prices to come up to right in here. But of course we ended up going much higher. Plus I was looking at the measured move up here. So that was another reason to like going long right there. So nice failed second entry short that leads to a second entry long. And then you get a failed second entry short counting off the low. Notice this, you got a new low, first entry, pull back second entry. That's usually a trap and you're usually going to go higher. So that was the reason I liked that trade. So a nice trap, and it shoots on up pretty quickly, and then you kind of get this little congestion area, and you get that all those matching lows across there that we always talk about. I don't have a line on there, but let me just put one on there. And notice that little trap you get, that little break lower, and it bounces right off. You probably wouldn't have you may not have had this median line yet, but you definitely should have had this trend line. It bounces right off of it again. Just go long right there. And now you're shooting for this high. And it leads to the other side of this channel. If you put it on there, you're looking for prices to at least touch that channel. And if you did that, that would have got you out right in here somewhere. And you might not have gotten it all, but I would have had this line copied here, and I would have it up here at this high somewhere. I originally started with mine there, and you see we got real close, but I later pulled it down and used the closes, and that worked out really well, and that shows you where most of your stems are up there. So again, runners were safe here, so you could have gotten a couple of points out of these. And if you look, I think all three of these legs are fairly close to being. There's leg one, there's leg two, and then there's leg three. It didn't quite get there, but even if you use this one and use that for the second leg and then that one for the last one, you still got really close there. So but anyway, nice trend up. This was your first break. This is kind of what a reversal pattern looks like. Notice you got this new high. We made a new high for the day. We've got leg one up, and now fairly close to leg two, not quite there. But you could be considering that, looking at that for a possible target. But you got this new high and now a lower low than this low or that low. So you got to be real hesitant to go long right there. So that's why I don't have that one marked, even though it worked. And people probably say, well, why didn't you take that second entry? If you're aggressive, you might take that. But because this is starting out like a reversal pattern, sometimes you'll get two legs down. You might get another leg down just like that. Plus, you had this trend line up here. So, but it turns out it worked. Followed the rules exactly. You get the break and you get a move to a new high. I'm pretty sure we got a new high by a tick or so there. Yeah, we got a couple of ticks, and then it sells off just like you would expect. You know, it corrects just like you would think it would. So it worked out perfectly. But sometimes, you know, it doesn't do that. And you could also still at that point really been thinking this might be a range day and we got a new high here. So now we may come down and try to make a new low. But you got to be careful. So you're better off to wait on a second entry, which came here. And notice how the closes are higher here than here. It's a higher low. Uh, the second entry is a little bit worse than this one. So I like that one. Go long. And then you get the failed second entry short, and you're still looking for a possible new high. So you got a trap now. Just go long right above that bar right there. And you got just enough to get your scalp. I think you got to have a tick or two to spare. And then you get two legs back. And then notice you got the first leg up, pull back, and you get another reversal bar. So like a little second entry there. It's a failed second entry short. Uh, it's getting a little aggressive now because we're really struggling to go higher, and there's always a chance that, you know, you end up getting caught in something like that. So I felt like that was a little aggressive. And then guess what? It shoots on up to the new high, and then it starts heading down. You get your trend line off those first couple of swings. You get another pull back there, a chance to go short off that trend line. Then it's coming down. Um, this really you could treat like a failed second entry long, even though we didn't tick higher here. Notice this leg down, move, and then you got a first entry move back up and then pull back. And then, so this is similar to like a failed second entry long. And if you went to a smaller chart, you'd see that, but don't worry about all that. Just know that it's like a trap, works similar. You can see it rocketed on down pretty quickly because people were still hung up thinking long here that, you know, they weren't reading the market properly. So it traps people, and that's what happens. And then you get like one more pullback. But by the time you get a chance to go short you don't want to go short below that bar. And by the time this bar sets up, you're so close to the low, and it's back close to this previous low across here. So you got to be careful. But then it turns into a breakout pullback short, and that was the first break of this bar. So you're looking for a new low. And remember, you got this line down here, so there's a good chance we're running all the way down there. And guess what? Boom, that's exactly where it goes. It takes a little work to get down there. The buying started coming in right here around 1780, 1779 and a half area. But they took it all the way down there. Notice how that bar, nothing closed below that bar. It's a good sign that that this trend line's right. And again, you got to wait on at least a second entry. There's always a good chance you come up here and hit this the EMA and then turn back down. Let me move this out of the way. And again, that's like two legs up. So this is similar to what happened up here, just in reverse. This is like a failed second entry short. If you went to a smaller chart, it would be. And you're looking for a reversal off these lows anyway, so just go long right there. Easy scalp. They did come back and get the runners on this one, but it gives you another chance to get in right here. Um, another bounce. There's actually a second entry long right above that. Notice you move up, you turn back down, then you go higher again. So when it broke above that little double bar matching high there, that's a second entry. Make it a little bigger in case. When it broke above that, that's a second entry long. Another quick, easy move. There. I actually liked going along here and adding on right here if you didn't get stopped out. The only way you wouldn't have got stopped out right here was if you used a limit order. And even if you used a limit order, you still would have gotten stopped out in this case. So um, unless you got in somewhere down here, you couldn't add on right here, but just get back in right here and go up. And nice trade. And you can see we're still working higher over here. My guess is we're going to try to reach this upper side. And you know, this is good enough to be considered a correction right here. You got a two-legged correction, so we may get another move equal to this first move. So I'd be looking for something like that from there to there, or maybe even I would probably measure it from there, and then this is where it starts up again right here, and that gets you back up here near this high again. So that's what I'd be looking for until we get some kind of reversal pattern or trap to the high side and turn back down. Even though we've already got a break, that's enough right there to be the correction, and we could be headed higher again. So, and it also could be that you just got a little weaker channel working up here like so, which it's starting to look that way, so we'll see. So you may just slow work your way back up here. We'll just have to see what happens. Based on this little channel here and the break and the move to a new high, you could easily see it start working lower, but I would wait till it was making lower highs and lower lows and you had a sure trend line before I would try to go short, because you know the bigger picture tells us this is where we're heading, up here to 1790, 1791 area probably. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I saw today. um, Again, it's very similar to a trading range day, and you could have treated it like that, as far as, notice what happened each time you made a new high you could have sold. You hadn't really made new lows though, so that's your key, that it's probably not really a trading range, that there's something else going on, because we're not making new lows, we're making higher lows, we're really making higher highs and higher lows each time. So you can't overlook that fact, even though it does look very similar to a trading range day, and even though it'll have some of the same characteristics as a trading range day, it's not really a trading range day. So anyway, that's good enough for today. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see